Well, it's time for another episode of Waterproof Records podcast with me, your host, Jacob Givens. And if you're new here because you saw who was my guest today and you clicked on this, welcome to Waterproof Records. It's a podcast that discusses those seminal albums, those meaningful pieces of music from the days of our youth, our waterproof records that completely rewrite our DNA and make us the people that we are. So if you like that sort of thing, you should definitely subscribe, listen to my show, stick around because I cover a lot of albums, have a lot of cool guests on the show, and I think you'll enjoy it. But my guest today is Petey USA. Petey USA exploded on social media in the early days of the pandemic because of his humorous, absurdist sketches on apps like TikTok. That's how I first discovered Petey USA. On top of being a very funny guy on the internet, Petey is an incredibly talented songwriter and musician. I'm so incredibly excited to sit down with Petey and talk about his journey from social media success to rock star success and everything in between. And of course, you know we're going to go back and talk about those early records that made an impression on his youth. It's time to talk to Petey USA. Let's go.
Things are going to change. I can feel it.
If this going to be that kind of party, I'm going
Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records with Jacob Givens.
All right, before I sit down and have a conversation with Petey, I want to tell you about DistroKid. You know, I use them and you should too. distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof. You use that code and you save 30% off your first year of uploading music to DistroKid. What is DistroKid? It is the fastest way for you to get your music on every streaming platform available, including YouTube. If you upload your songs on there instantly, now everybody can hear your music. So go ahead and use distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof and you're going to save 30% off. That's my VIP code that I give to you, so you should definitely use it. Well, that's that. Let's welcome my guest, Petey USA.
Hello.
Welcome to Waterproof Records, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Totally. It's surreal sitting across from you.
Oh, cool.
Because I've just watched you for so long on all the sketches you do on social media, and of course your music is incredible, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit, I guess, about what's going on right now in your life before I dig into your past.
Yeah, sure. I just moved to houses down the block, which is really cool. To stay in the same neighborhood, but just to move a couple houses down. I've never done that before.
Really?
I like that.
Yeah.
It's all the excitement of a new space.
Yeah.
Without having to adjust your routine.
Yeah.
Which is really cool for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Life's just so good. It's crazy. It's really trippy.
Yeah.
Like when life's good, it's like psychedelic.
Yeah.
And I'm releasing tunes. Just released a song the other day. Been releasing a couple songs.
Say For the Horses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite of the 3 that I've released.
Yeah. Kiss the City.
Yeah, and Like a Mantra.
Like a Mantra. Yeah, they're all excellent.
It was cool. I played Summerfest in Milwaukee not too long ago. That was sick.
Yeah.
Epic, legendary festival.
Yeah.
Feels like the 80s, like feels very like Wisconsin State Fair. The whole place smells like funnel cakes.
Yeah.
It's exactly where I want the play. That's exactly where I want to be playing.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not originally from Los Angeles. You're born and raised Midwest. So does it feel good when you go play out there and you get to kind of go back to places that feel more familiar from your youth and childhood?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so much. It's like I feel like I'm speaking to my people out there in a way that, like, you know, my upbringing finds its way into the lyrics, into the way that the songs sound, into the instrumentals even.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I'm playing around there, it feels like the audience, it's like who I wrote it for. You know what I mean? And I think they feel that too. And so it was a crazy show. And I love playing in Wisconsin. I'm from Chicago, but, like, you know, culturally, the whole Midwest is super similar.
Yeah.
And playing in Chicago is amazing. It's just so annoying to have to deal with fucking, like, friends and family members on, like, the guest list in the green room and stuff.
Totally.
So I like playing in, like, Wisconsin and Indiana.
Yeah.
It's just such a breeze and so fun.
Yeah.
And it's very spiritually, Wisconsin also just got a special thing to it. Like, it's an extremely special state. There's like a mystical thing about it.
It's more than cheese.
It's more than
Way
cheese.
more than cheese.
But the cheese is sort of is a part of the mysticism for
It really
me.
is. Especially the cheese curds.
Yeah. I love places that the general public doesn't really know how beautiful they are. And Wisconsin is definitely one of them. I mean, northern Wisconsin up near Lake Superior.
Gorgeous.
I don't want to blow up the spot, but
It's too late. It's too late. The word is out. The word is out. It is Superior and it's a lake.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's the biggest Great Lake.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. It's crystal clear. It's awesome. Was born always around Lake Michigan. So Lake Michigan is like my lake, but Lake Superior is real cool and real different.
Yeah. It is. We share that in common.
Oh, nice.
So I'm born and raised Tulsa, Oklahoma, but I moved to Wheaton, Naperville at the end of my high school.
Yeah, cool.
So I went to Wheaton North High School for 1 year, my junior year, and then I went back to my hometown to finish out high school. But I ended up going to University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign.
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you have a good time at U of I?
I had a good time at U of I, but I had a miserable time at Wheaton North. That was
Gotcha.
the worst year of my life.
Interesting. But you didn't go to. Okay, so Wheaton, and that's close to Naperville.
Yeah,
because
Wheaton
Naperville's like a behemoth. Like I feel like I would have a really bad time at that school.
Yeah, I don't know much
great
about
football program.
Yeah, totally. And Naperville's a cool town. They've got the the Riverwalk, and it's what. But Wheaton, I don't know if you ever you're Winnetka, right?
Yeah.
Winnetka, and you went to New Trier.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever went to Wheaton, but it's got this weird.
I played a couple jazz concerts there because I was a jazz drummer in high school and did like some traveling throughout the state.
Yeah, so you might not have interacted with it much, but because of the presence of Wheaton College and Billy Graham's school, it has this Pleasantville kind of everybody's hunky dory and kind of religious facade a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I mean North Shore too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
You're familiar.
Yeah, and then there's a dark underbelly
for sure. There is.
Prescription drugs and lonely housewives and just horrible dudes.
Yes. This is very, very true. Like it's crazy because there's a lot to love about it, but there's a lot in the underbelly that if you live there, you understand and you know about and you write from.
I mean, I question it all the time. To this day, I question like, is this place specifically fucked up? Which it might be because it's so affluent.
Yeah.
Or is everyone's hometown fucked up?
Yeah. And I think there's got to be truth to that. I mean, LA in its own way, the whole way to navigate living in this city is to find the least fucked up pocket.
For sure. I do feel like the lack of, and I put this in quotes, but like the lack of quote unquote community feeling that LA has as a idea.
I know what you mean.
Is both isolating, but also sort of like protects you from some of like the really dark underbelly of like the suburban doldrums.
Right.
I don't know what it's like out in the Valley or Thousand Oaks or some of that shit. I'm sure it's all weird there too.
Yeah.
But like, I do feel like it's like in the absence of like a like, and I fucking hate it when white people use this term, but community. Yeah. And we
not
can
the
get
show,
into
but the actual thing. Right?
I'm just like, that's my biggest fucking pet peeve right now. It's like if I hear people talk about community one more time, I'm gonna fucking blow my brains out. But
I get it.
But in the absence of like whatever that idea is, like it can feel lonely sometimes, but it also feels like there's no veil of protection over some like under discussed, really fucked up shit going on.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I totally get it. And
it's like the Pleasantville effect.
Yes.
There's like something looks perfect. Something's really deeply wrong here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being dramatic, but
no, you're in the right place for being dramatic.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a dramatic dude.
Yeah.
And very theatrical world that, I live in for sure. So I think, but there's something about LA. It's sprawling and strange. And how many years have you been out here?
I've been out here 12 years, and I love it and I hate it, and I love how much I hate it, and I love how much I love it, and like I'd say hate, but I mean like I'm just like very Larry David about shit. Like I need something to complain about, almost as like comedic relief for myself. I'm just like very neurotic about it.
Yeah,
and LA provides me so much material to just like be a dick when I want to. And for that, I love it. And I think I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I talk about moving all the time.
Yeah, I'm addicted to it, and I think that honestly, part of living here is to talk about moving all the time.
For sure.
I do think that just goes with it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people will say like, I'm going to get out of here, and they'll do that the entire time and then die here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me especially, I'm 34 now. It's been such an important exercise for me. To understand that like talking shit about something is not representative of how you actually feel.
Yeah. And
to separate from like the things that you talk about and joke about and talk shit about or whatever, like are not representative of how your life is. And that's just kind of really cool. I think like in your 20s, sometimes you can conflate those two things together.
Sure.
And like have an identity about it.
Yeah.
But for me to separate from my identity from the stuff that I talk about has been such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is like my life is so fucking awesome, way cooler than I ever imagined it would be.
Yeah.
And so it's like I must love it here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
But still so fun to complain about things.
Yes.
So I'm not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
This, this city keeps you busy. This place keeps you busy. And like we talked about the Midwest. And I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to hate on, Illinois or Wisconsin living, because there's a wonderful thing about it. And there is a completely different energy of people that are there than there is here. And they can be refreshing to be around that when you're here for a long time.
Yeah.
But it is a place that we're surrounded by beautiful nature, the world. Yeah. And it is you're constantly moving. Yeah. And so that for a creative person is a cool place to be.
It's cool
because you can feel pretty stagnant elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's weird too. I mean, LA is so weird. Like if you look at it, like it's almost impossible. If you've seen any David Lynch movie, it's impossible not to like look at it all sort of like through that lens.
100%.
And just purely from an observational standpoint, like you see the freakiest shit every hour of the day.
Yeah.
And then to reconcile it with like, oh my God, the most people live here.
Yeah.
And so the most people are kind of freaks. Like it really like, it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's also frustrating, but it's cool.
It's frustrating and cool.
Yeah.
It's the dreamers. Yeah. You come here, and I've probably talked about this on the show before, but there's something in the DNA of this part of the country where the European immigrants that took this land horribly, the ones who went the furthest were the dreamers, right? Yeah. So it's like there's something about those cities across the U.S. where if you stopped, it was like, well, this is good enough. It's freezing here.
Yeah.
But this is good enough. And everybody who made it to the end were the ones who were like, I believe I can find gold.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So it pervades forever.
For sure. I wonder, I mean, going on tour for me is like, I mean, the best part about it is kind of like learning to fall in love with every region of the United States. Right. Just sort of like, it's all so cool. Like the scenery, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Like there's just like, I don't know. I've really been enjoying road tripping around.
Yeah, yeah,
and seeing everything.
Absolutely. I think America is great, and we've been experiencing what's so cool is we know it all so well, but it's been so fun with the World Cup and all the coverage of all the Europeans here going like, it's amazing here.
Yeah.
That has been such a trip.
It's really beautiful. Well, it's just home. You know what I mean? Like it's like the whole. This is so funny. I'm just like, the whole world's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like there is something about it being your home and discovering the beauty in a place that you were born in. So, I mean, there's just this connection there.
Yeah.
And it feels special to just drive somewhere and realize that like, oh, this can be paradise, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying.
That's a perfect segue into let's get into your waterproof record.
Yeah.
So, when I have anybody on this show and why it all came to be is this notion, and the name just comes from my son when he was 3. I asked him what I should call my future pub/record store, and he said Waterproof Records, and so that's the name of the show.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's basically the album that changed your DNA. Usually lands in your lap around 12, 13. It's like up until that point, you listen to what your parents give you, what's on the radio.
Yeah.
This is that discovery. And when you discover it, something in your DNA changes. You're not the same, whether it leads you to write and record music, or if it's just something that's like, to this day, you would get it at a party and you would just be like, let me tell you the million ways that I love this album.
Yeah.
So now you threw a couple options out there. So I'm going to leave it up to you to kind of which one you want to hit first. If you want to hit all of them, I'd love to hear.
Sure. Did I do say anything in there? Is it
You
Real Boy?
did. And that's why I put on the shirt.
That's
you did
like,
say anything. And I was like, great choice.
Yeah, that's
Is a
my
Real
number.
Boy.
That's my number one.
Is it?
I think so.
I'm so
I
glad.
mean, I am. I'm a, like. It's so funny. Like, I know that it's like music is my job. As a listener, I would describe myself as not someone who's like a student of the game, per se. I'm a very like. I probably have more in common with the regular guy listening to music than I do of like any maniacal fan, I guess. I mean, I feel like I just only have enough space in my brain to like hyper focus on like a few things at a time, and the few things that I like, I listen to over and over and over and over again. I've been doing that since I was like 13 years old.
Yeah.
And then everything else is amazing and blows my mind, and then but I forget about it.
Yeah.
Is a Real Boy is an album that I feel like I can talk about forever.
Yes.
Front and back, listen to it at any time of day. I know it well. I could probably play the whole thing on drums. Yeah, that one really changed my life and opened my mind about like what you can do, what you can say.
Yeah.
And not like get arrested, you know?
Totally. And I'm so when you mentioned it, so this is so great, is I had the list of, because you give me about 5 choices, which is cool because every guest I have on here, when we're music lovers, it's kind of hard to distill things down sometimes. Sometimes you can point to it and be like, oh, it's the Beatles' White Album, or, you know, for me, my one that I go to is Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream. That's a huge record for me. But when you gave me 5, I went through all of them. I knew them all. Yeah. But Say Anything was the first time that I really made a strong link to you. You know, stylistically.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me before, because I hear your cleverness, your, you know, the way you self-reference, deprecation, all the things that you do in the honesty, the vulnerability in your lyrics, and the splashes of humor. And that's the thing about Say Anything, is there's things, there's a really dark, macabre look at the world, and sometimes, but then it's also gets really oddly funny. Yeah. And then like even the way that the record opens, right? With the recording of I've got to record this, that intro. Yeah. That is peering behind the curtain. Yeah. Of an artist. Do you know what I mean? And that's so much of what, at least what I think you do.
Well, it's what everyone... It's what like the biggest pop stars in the world. It's like, what's what like the Sabrina Carpenters and I love all of them, but like it's what they're all being instructed to try to do now. Right. And he was doing that in college. Yeah. It's like 20 years ago.
It's amazing.
It's literally like the like anti-marketing approach now, executed flawlessly 20 years
way ahead of its time
before. Like having a real, what do you call that, what would you call capturing like that earnest moment?
It's like breaking the fourth wall. It's something like that, right?
Having that be the beginning of the album is like
unheard of.
Yeah, like, you know, Atlantic marketing team could never.
No, and it was 2000, I want to say it's 2002 or 2003, somewhere around there roughly. Yeah. But and that's, I think you're right that, it's being instructed, but I think that the world is smart when they know it's authentic and real when it comes from somebody, and they're like, you know, like I think that they can see it. And when I listen to her music, I feel that sense of authenticity coming from you as well, kind of lowering the guard. And all of that is, you know, us peering behind the curtain, seeing the great Wizard of Oz for who he is. And up until that point, see, I'm Gen X, and I grew up as a teenager in the 90s. And so Say Anything is an example of the first time that I started hearing music that I was like, wait, you're allowed to do that? Yeah. You're allowed to write lyrics just about of like a regular
killing little girls.
Yeah. You're just like, these are things that you're allowed to do, and you're allowed to kind of show them. And then even referring to things that are in the pop culture zeitgeist like a chia.
Yeah.
Like even referring to that, you go, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You can't. Like everybody in bands are supposed to be mysterious and have poetic lyrics and not talk about a thing that's on an ad on my TV at 11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that
Yeah.
started to break those rules down.
Right.
And the fact that you chose it, I was like, that's very identifiable as like, I can see some foundations in Petey.
For sure.
From
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think it's like, you know, it's the only way I know how to do things. I think that on the subject of like authenticity, it's like, it's not really a choice. Like if I were to do some shit very like facade-y, I would be so uncomfortable in that, that like people would see it. It wouldn't be fun for anyone.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where I was on a major label for 2 years and like I wanted the advance money from getting my next record picking up. So like a large part of that was just like, I should play ball with whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? At least play ball so that like if the shit's on the cusp of working and they're going through the Rolodex being like, do we give this guy another album?
Right.
And of course, it's ridiculous to think because it's not how things work, but maybe someone would be like, you know, he really tried hard or whatever. Let's give him the fucking shit. Like, so like just navigating that, there was some things that I did that like weren't totally my authentic self. And you can tell immediately, it's like what the fans could tell, like, you know? So yeah, that being said, it's just like not a strategy. It's just the only way.
Yeah.
It's the only way. I think it's so funny now. Cause like in the small chatter that I've seen on the internet about like things and in response to like whatever conversation about AI or whatever, it's so funny. It's just like a bunch of forward facing videos being like, authenticity is in or whatever. I was like, well, thanks for ruining authenticity.
Thanks for ruining it. I know. I know.
Yeah. Do you know what's cool? I've got a feeling that people are going to start gravitating towards authenticity. It's like
authenticity.
It's like,
brand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Epic.
You know, they figure out a way to do this as well. So, and things come full circle, right? Because grunge and the alternative explosion from when I was a teenager, that's what it was all about, right? We had high kicking hair bands and leather. Some of them were great. Some of them were absolutely great. I was a fan.
Yeah. I mean, no, sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
Before we go further, I just want to say, like, people who dress up and play a character, and fucking Coheed and Cambria being a whole concept band, fantasy concept band, and people who wear masks and makeup and bands like fucking like Mudvayne or whatever, like that stuff, like that's just as authentic as like me wearing my normal Joe Schmo clothing. Totally. Because I mean, those people's authentic selves is theatrical, playing characters, doing that. That's like not what I'm talking about. So I just want to get that out of the way. Yeah, no, I don't want everyone looking like fucking playing music in their pajamas. You know?
No. I think that theatrics, you know, we go all the way back to Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, all of these guys that brought really Kiss, these bands that brought this, show.
Cool.
It's so cool and it's so innovative.
They're performers.
Absolutely. Because I was in theater, I was in musical theater, and I did all that, song and dance stuff. So there's something in us. In artists, in some of us, that it's like, I don't want this to not only sound good, but I also want to pizzazz, And so what I was trying to get at more was the commodification of authenticity, which was as the hair bands, the glam stuff got more and more commercial, and the less authentic spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off started to emerge. And you're like, then all of a sudden, up in Seattle, you've got a bunch of poor kids. They don't have any money. And so they're wearing flannels because it's cold and rainy. And they're wearing combat boots because that's what they got at the Salvation Army. And they're singing about how pissed they are at the way the system is broken. And it got commodified, right? It got branded, it got marketed, and they were like, we're calling it grunge now. This is a thing. And I mean, I bought flannel and combat boots, and I wanted to be that guy, so.
But then all of a sudden, a puddle of mud comes along.
So it's like real at first. It's always real at first, and then some way through all this, through the TikTokification and branding and people market marketing leads and AI saying you just gotta, authenticity is in. It's like there will always hopefully break through this cycle somebody who does something different.
Sure.
Which is great.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not even like the AI of it all. I mean, I guess AI is the like the thing that people are reacting to, but like the reaction of AI is becoming so fucking homogenized that there's like nothing on either side.
It's just the same thing over and over again. Yeah, I know.
Between like branded authenticity and no authenticity, I'm just kind of like, I don't care about either of this shit. It's so boring. You know? It's
well
funny.
Said. Yeah. Well, so going back to Say Anything.
Yeah.
Do you remember how you discovered it? Do you remember how you got that album? Did you get it on CD? Was it like you were watching MTV? Was it an older sibling or friend?
I discovered so much music that I still love today through the featured music videos on iTunes. And I was obsessed with downloading the music video. And they would do a free one, like once a month, maybe. There was just like a free section. It was like a big promotional thing. And I discovered Ben Folds 5 that way.
Yes.
I discovered, this is really crazy because it's a deep cut, but I discovered McCluskey that way. Do you know that band?
Yes, I do.
She Will Only Bring You Happiness.
Yes.
One of my favorite songs ever. It's just a free music video on iTunes.
That's amazing.
And I think Alive with the Glory of Love was one of them.
That's how I found Say Anything.
Yeah, and I watched the video and heard the song and I was like, I can't believe this is real. And then of course that's when that started popping up on people's MySpace page. That was a big MySpace profile song.
Sure.
And then I dove into the record. All my friends dove into it at the same time and were just like, I can't believe this is real. I've never heard anything like this before. Every decision is perfect. Every note is perfect. Every drum fill is perfect. And the lyrics are just fucking deranged. And I mean, we were
it's
like
about the Holocaust. It's like, wow, you're listening to this song and you're like, what are we singing about? The Holocaust?
Yeah. And it's so funny because like at the same time we were like, everyone, we were all listening to like Brand New and like The Used and like a bunch of like bands singing about like really fucked up stuff. But as you get older, that stuff is not as fucked up as you think it is. It's kind of just, and then the It's a Real Boy shit gets more fucked up, kind of.
Sure.
And you don't even realize how, without context, the shit's insane.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip going around recently of the guy, the guy who did the Nirvana, the band?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw the movie. Did you see it?
I loved it.
I loved it.
I knew nothing about him before I saw it. I love it.
Same
and I
story.
saw Blackberry recently too.
I haven't seen that one.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I think I just watched those movies recently, so my algorithm like sends me his shit.
Yeah.
And there's a clip of him going around. It's really popular about him being like people who write about their own experiences honestly, no matter how fucked up it is, it's just only seen as great writing. It's never seen as like this person's messed up.
You're right.
Kinda.
Yes, I think I did see that clip.
Yeah, it was cool for me to hear that.
Yeah.
And that's totally what Is a Real Boy is, where it's just like, I could never write those lyrics because I'd be so worried about what my family would think about me or what my friends, you know what I mean? It's like the close circle reactions to that would prevent me from writing those songs.
Yes.
Which is so stupid, but it's like, and I don't want to speak to whatever Max was going through, but like, I'm so glad that album came out. It's just it's crazy.
It's a huge influence.
Yeah.
And I can hear it in your songwriting and, the music you're releasing now, what I heard you put out, so great because I discovered you like some, I would say, I'm curious to know, some will have discovered you through your comedy and through that aspect of your social media and then learn you're a musician, whereas others will know you as a musician and then go find it. Do you find one is more than the other?
Sorry, can you rephrase that? One is more...
are they coming to you as a fan of your music and then learning about your sketches after the fact or vice versa?
Well, I was doing sketches every day during COVID, just cranking them out. Got so many social media followers so quickly.
Yeah.
And... I mean, that shit was so algorithmic. So it wasn't even about like the followers. It was just about like how much physical time I was spending on people's For You pages, which based on how often I was like getting recognized during COVID and like those early years, I think I was just like on everyone's phones constantly.
You were. You were one of my earliest follows. Like I remember, it is true. It was like TikTok was definitely being like, you should make sure you see Petey. But like, I was really glad I saw you because it's totally in my wheelhouse. I love that kind of awkward humor. You know, I thought it was great. And so you were an early follow, but so you were also discovering that was how it was for everybody. They were just like seeing you.
Yeah, and so that was like exclusively kind of how people found out about me in the early days, and then the music followers discovered this secret that was at the center of this big, big universe. Sorry about my phone.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And the umbrella that the comedy stuff cast was massive.
Yes.
And it was big enough so that a large enough audience could discover the music within it and become pretty passionate about it and really like sing along like hardcore fans.
Yeah.
And then that just sort of like grew together for a couple years, and I just kind of stopped doing the comedy sketches for no reason other than I have no idea. I can't even really define it for you.
Sure.
Might get back into it. Probably. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And the one through line is just like I keep writing songs. Maybe in hopes that people would discover that first, or I have no idea, or not. Like I don't know. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. I just know what happened.
Yeah,
and that's how it happened.
Yeah. I just was curious, and I mean, there's probably no way to measure when people come up to you as to who came to you from which place, but discovering you in comedy and then learning you're a great musician. So my experience, right, is like, hey, you know that funny guy Petey? He actually writes music, and it's actually good. You know what I mean? Like that is the jump that people make.
That was the only story.
Totally. And this is like when you find somebody on social media and you know them for one thing, you're like, he's actually a chef. You know what I mean? It's always like, oh shit, I only knew the one niche. But I do have to say, Fog Juice, I still watch that one when I'm down. That's one of my all-time favorites. I showed it to my son this morning because I was like, do you know who I'm having come over today? And I was sitting down and showing him, which he thought was funny.
I'm proud of that one.
Yeah. Fog Juice is fucking hilarious.
Hey man, what you doing? Pre-gaming for the party. Same with me, I love pre-gaming too, man. Get a little liquored up before the big event. A little liquid courage to be the best version of myself. Confident and hilarious. Exactly, man, what you drinking? I'm just drinking a beer. What you drinking? Fog juice. What? I'm drinking fog juice. What? Why? No. It's a special kind of juice for DJ's party. I found it in the attic. I want to get lit. What? No. Dude, you idiot. That juice is for the fog machine that I bought on Amazon. What? Oh my god. It's not for drinking. It's for my fog machine. Fuck. Oh my god. It's poisonous juice. Yeah, dude. It's straight up poisonous juice. Okay, we gotta go to the hospital. God damn it. I'm such an idiot. God damn it. How are you feeling? Honestly, not that bad. That's insane. I used to eat a lot of paint as a little kid. What? Yeah, I used to eat dried paint off the wall like chips. Oh my god, why? I don't know, man. I was just a baby. But anyway, I think I sort of built up a natural immunity for this type of thing. Holy shit. It tastes like airplanes. What? It sort of tastes like how I imagine an airplane would taste. Like what part of an airplane? The whole airplane. Like if a whole airplane sort of got blended up
But yeah, so discovering you that way, because I wanted to share with you from a personal standpoint, like I do comedy and music as well. I am also a hybrid of those things.
Yeah.
And so did you find that making a transition from being funny to writing music, that it was frustrating at times of being taken seriously or think everything's a joke or anything? Did you find any frustrations in that?
Well, I wouldn't really call it a transition just because like I started becoming a professional musician before even the comedy stuff took off.
That's true.
Like I signed a indie deal, which got me out of work.
That's great.
And then the comedy stuff came during COVID, and maybe if I had like an ego about it, it would have pissed me off. But the reality is like I was like super broke at the beginning of COVID, and at the end of COVID I was like selling out venues and like had a whole career, so I didn't really give a shit what the dialogue was about it, or
That's
like
great.
I couldn't even conceptualize what it felt like to be taken seriously or not.
Right,
I was just like, I didn't have a job, now I got a job,
Right.
and I'm going to Australia. Like, life's fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
If people want to think I'm a joke, that's cool. I'm getting enough proof from the people screaming fucking "Don't Tell the Boys Back to Me" and concerts that, like, this group of people doesn't think this is a joke. Obviously, there's a bunch of dudes like crying. You know,
I am so glad you brought up that song in particular because I know it's one of your most popular ones. But that song means the world to me.
Yeah,
it means the world to me.
Oh hell yeah!
Because I have always had a problem with being a male.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I lived in the Midwest. Yeah. I grew up in Oklahoma, and I'm a soft boy. You know what I mean? Sure. I have a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions. And when I lived in, you know, I'm not going to sit here and dump trauma on you, but when I lived in Wheaton, I ran around with a group of guys that we were called the Boys. Yeah. That was literally the name that everybody referred to as the Boys, you know? And so much of what really plagued that friend group was the pressures of masculinity and being strong and not being able to openly talk about depression, anxiety if you're not doing okay or whatever you might be going through at the time. So that song is incredibly powerful and meaningful. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I really loved about it.
Yeah, thank you.
It means so much because at a, you know, if I go and I watch the music video, it's like somebody can look at that and be like, oh, that's fun. Like, that's it. But really, there's so much gravity to this idea.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah. I think, and there's humor in it too.
There is.
I mean, I think, and there's some weird weight to some of the skits too. I mean, like, they're always like kind of like a little bit sad. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it all is flowing in the same stream.
It's all things. Yeah. It's all things. And I think we're allowed to be that way.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I think we're allowed to be, you know, up and down, left, right. We're allowed to be all emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, zeros and ones.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm so glad you brought up that song because it is so powerful, and I love that there are men at concerts singing it back and crying.
Oh, big time!
That's awesome.
Have you been to a show before?
I have yet to go, but I have. It's only just because I missed the opportunity because I was somewhere else or wasn't able to go. But I cannot wait to come see you live next time you play LA.
Yeah, it's a big vibe.
Yeah. I hope there's a show coming up soon. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about any upcoming shows, but
I'm playing Zebulon.
Are you?
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
It'll be fun. Yeah, we're just like trying out new material, playing some smaller rooms, more intimate, kind of like a broken down set, a little bit more like free feeling. I don't know. I'm just trying some new shit out because I can and it's fun.
Yeah. I love that you shared that, you know, it doesn't matter. Having humor and having music and being an artist and being vulnerable, all those things can exist at the same time. I don't know if I have had as healthy as a perspective, and maybe it has to do with generationally, you know, growing up at a time where I think that I'm watching my own children be a little bit more vulnerable and open with what's on, what's off, and being able to talk about things and you know, experiencing as somebody who loves comedy and being silly, but when I would get the like, well, I can't take you seriously, the things that it did to my psychology, you know, the things that it shut me down and really prevented me from moving forward. And so I think that your story is one that needs to be told to so many people out there that are artists and creatives that you don't have to fit into this little narrow box of this one thing. You get to be all things.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? Totally. Oh, definitely. Yeah. 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 I mean, that's how I feel. Like, that's how I've always felt it. Yeah. I don't even know. I can't. Sorry, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
And that's okay. That's okay. No, I honestly, this is why I love going back to the albums that first struck us, because it kind of takes us back to how it all begins. Yeah. You know, like where is the foundation that builds the art, and it's usually discovering somebody's art and then taking that and running with it.
It's something that makes you want to do it. Something that makes you fantasize about doing it.
When did you start writing songs?
I wrote some songs in college. I always played drums in high school, but I always wanted to write the songs. Right. And then, some songs in college, but then I stopped and then started back up again when I was 27, started writing songs for this project.
Yeah, well, when you New Trier, you come from a great pedigree of unbelievable people who went to that high school. You
Yeah.
have Charlton Heston,
Yeah.
Rock Hudson,
Liz Fair,
Rainn Wilson, and
Donald Rumsfeld.
yeah, and now Petey USA. And P. Wentz went there for 1 year, I believe. He didn't go there the whole time.
Yeah.
I believe he went one year.
Yeah.
But that was another one on your list was Fall Out Boy.
Did you take this to your grave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Another
yes.
great drum record.
Yeah.
Underrated drum record. The drums on there are some of the most like innovative pop punk drums of all time.
Absolutely.
I think like really like just because I'm obsessed with playing along to pop punk records and like that one is like hard,
Yeah.
like unexpected. Like there's some crazy shit going on there.
Yeah.
But that album is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Also, you
Yeah.
chose another one was photo album Death Cab. For
Yeah,
Cutie.
that's my Death Cab album. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Lyricist, another person who really took me by surprise.
Yeah.
With the kind of the honesty and poetic way of saying these common phrases. It
Yeah.
seemed like they were.
Yeah.
I had never heard it paired like that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just an excellent songwriter. And then the last one I believe was Everclear.
Yeah.
Yes.
So much for the Afterglow.
Yes.
That's my truck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have it in my truck.
Yeah, it's a great record too.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a funny one too.
It is.
Yeah. It's so like to compare that to Israel Boy, it's a funny comparison because he is being so honest about being fucked up and medicated, but it's in the most like non-abstract way ever.
Yeah.
Kind of like Max is just full of metaphor and hyperbole and
Yes.
and the dramatics.
Yes.
And so much for the Afterglow is just like him being like, I take my medicine.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
He's just saying it flat out, right? Right? He's just saying exactly the thing. Very vulnerable art.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, very vulnerable. And I mean, I remember, Father of Mine,
Yeah.
these things that were playing on MTV, it was just like, wow, this guy is telling me everything. He's
Yeah.
telling me what he's going through.
And if I'm not wrong, that was a sort of mid-30s thing for
I
him.
think so.
Like, I think he had like never really taken off until his mid
I think you're right.
to late 30s even. I don't know. I had to look at the timeline on
Yeah,
that.
he's
but
definitely one of those guys that
I
when
love
he's-
hearing shit like that.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
James Murphy, LCD Sound System.
Yeah.
I love it when you hear. I mean, especially this old guy loves hearing anybody that like gets past 30 or 40 and things start to break for them because
Yeah.
there's this myth of like it only happens for the young.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I love those as well. But I loved your selection of these records because they are very different from each other, and I love the connection to the fact that you are a drummer.
Yeah.
And of course, you're always going to, whenever I have somebody on the show that is a drummer,
Yeah.
and they tell me their choices, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
You wanna
'Cause
play
there's-
to 'em.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you want to play them for your school's talent show.
Yeah.
like that's why you get into bands as a drummer. It's
Yeah.
like this would be cool to cover the song, and that's what you kind of like fantasize. You fantasize about playing in the gym.
Yeah. Did you get to play in a band in high school with anybody as a drummer?
Oh, yeah, always.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got to
a
know
couple.
what was tell me some of the band names if you can remember.
I was in a band called Young Jesus for a while, and he's still doing it.
Yes,
out
I've
here.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah. But we were totally different back
Yeah.
in the day.
That's awesome.
And it was really, really fun. And in my early 20s, I played in a band called Ben McKenzie.
Nice.
And that's the guy who plays Ryan on the OC. That's the actor.
Right. Which is your reference in
In the Don't Tell the Boys.
Don't Tell the Boys, which is great.
That was really fun. I want to do it again. I haven't played drums since, I played drums on my own records. Like
Sure.
I just, but I want to play in like a cool pop punk band again. I think it'd be really fun.
I'm sure there's many people that would happily join you in a pop punk band.
Yeah, it's so funny. I get out of that, but it's really funny. I like delete Instagram when I don't have to post on it because I think it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
That I forget that I actually had this like I can ask people for things.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm kind of like, I in my free time, I'm never thinking like I'm always just like, God, who can I play in a band with?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I picked up on that with your What's in My Bag, Amoeba Records.
Yeah.
One thing, when I was preparing for this, I wanted to get to know kind of what's been going on in your life. And that's important to me. And I thought to myself, there was so much about talking about having CDs in your car.
Yeah.
And really living an analog
Yeah.
life. And
Oh, yeah.
I really admire that. And I think that's more and more, despite the fact that my audience is going to listen to this on a device or,
No,
watch
sure.
these clips, but it is a
Yeah.
good reminder for people that Like when you talked about it in that clip, you talked about having a CD, putting it in your car, and just having like you're connected to this album. You know, like it's for the duration of the ride. You're listening to this thing.
Yeah.
So that just changes how you kind of digest music and art in general when you can immerse, and you talked about immersion.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's important.
For sure. And I think it's like, you know, I don't get away from social media and all that stuff because of I think the term is like always like doom scrolling. Like it doesn't affect my mental health. Like seeing, like, it's not like how like it's described a lot of the time, like seeing bad shit and now I'm in a bad mood. It's sort of just like, yo, like real life is so trippy. It's a lot of fun for me. Like I have like a really dope setup and like it's like there's outside is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it sort of feels like any of the short form scrolling stuff for me right now is just time away from
creating,
me looking at something trippy outside, you know?
That's so cool.
And having fun and having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Were you telling me about your early band, Young Jesus, got me thinking about, I wanted to dig in a little bit as much as you're willing.
Yeah.
There's one of the reasons I was knowing that we would have a lot of interesting things to talk about. So I was raised in a Christian home in the Bible Belt in Tulsa. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for my own parents and all people who believe and follow and have faith. Yeah. But as I left it at 27, I want to be careful because I had an episode not too long ago where we got into a conversation, and I obviously have religious trauma. Yeah. Right. I have religious trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because there's experiences that I had as a kid that when you leave, you look back and you go, well, that wasn't healthy. Yeah. And that's not a comment on the faith or the religion itself. Yeah. But when certain subjects come up for me, it's like somebody who's been abused a little bit. Sure. So you have these things that come out of you. Yeah. And I had never really, look, I forget sometimes that people watch and they listen, right? Yeah. And when somebody expresses like, hey, that was a little offensive, I feel like you're mocking and that was not the intention at all. Yeah. But I wanted to get into it because you have that great verse about the I read the Bible. Yeah. Don't make fun of me. Yeah. That's a great lyric. And then God is in the gray and these things that you're touching onto these spiritual elements. And I love that about your music because it feels very sincere about this understanding that there is something that we don't understand. Maybe there's a God. Yeah. And we can explore those notions, but there is on one side you have the it's so uncool to talk about like faith in certain circles, right? Yeah. And then on the other side, you have the very extreme religious side, which is so sacred and protective that I'm not allowed to talk about, hey, sometimes it fucks you up as a kid. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I wanted to know a little bit about when that stuff comes into play for you and your own youth and experience with faith. Yeah. And how it plays a part now.
Yeah, it's so funny. I would say that the youth was not a part of it at all. Like my youth relationship with religion and Christianity and God is like the most benign, boring, uneventful thing ever. It's so funny. Like I think I was like Googling myself the other day or something, just like what the fuck's out there, Yeah. And like I think there was like an AI summary or something. I honestly don't know where the fuck this came from. Yeah. But it was just like at like blah blah blah, like Petey left the church or whatever. I was like, dude, I've never
people are making this up.
Yeah, I've never said that.
You're setting the record straight here.
Yeah. The only thing I've ever even inferred about that was like I went to an Episcopal church when I was younger because my dad is an Episcopalian and loves church. Yeah. And when I was old enough to make my own decisions, I got bored and I stopped going. Yeah. And it's as fucking simple as that, but it's just so funny how like the internet or like whatever, it's like, and I don't even know where this came from. It's just like, and then Petey left the church, like I was fucking Mormon or something. Right? Like, and like got like oh man, like ostracized from society. Right. It's so funny because there's no version of this where it's just like a benign, boring, and not that big of a fucking deal at all. Like, and it's actually like the most likely outcome as an agnostic spiritual person to just be like, Yeah, like I love creation myths. The Bible is a really famous one.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it up. Maybe read some cool sentences. Hear some cool stories about the creation of the world. I don't give a shit if it's real or not.
Right.
It's just a fun story in the same way that the Marvel shit is. Like, that's cool. And like, my relationship with God is like, I see no evidence proving against it. So it's like fun and fulfilling for me to like believe in some concept of like a creator outside Christianity, outside any organized religion. It's really fun to I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time. I think that there's like, I'm the most familiar with the Christian faith out of all the faiths. So I know about the lessons of that one in particular.
Right.
There's a ton of good shit that I really love. I really love the Serenity Prayer. That I think they say it, that's the prayer for like AA and like all that stuff. And to me, that's a total mantra to live your life by. It's like, it's fucking awesome. I completely dissociate lessons from the concept of Christianity. But the fact is like, these are the reference points to talk about them.
Sure.
So yeah, and my songs, I'm going to be honest. It's just like, yeah, I think about God all the fucking time. I read the Bible sometimes because it's fun.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. And like, that's it. It's as benign as that. I never left the church. I never joined the church.
You never joined the church?
Yeah, like the church was always just a building.
We are setting the Google search straight. I'm hoping the results come up this detailed now because that's such a good, you know what I mean? Like that's...
Yeah. And like most things on the fucking internet, like... It's so extremely binary that like people are just like, that's weird. You're talking about God. It's like, it's actually not weird.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and it's not weird to just like read popular books, and it's not weird. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's not weird. I feel bad that like, the Christians took something really beautiful and like managed to like really fuck it up for a lot of people. Yeah. That's so annoying.
Yes.
But that has nothing to do with me or my association with it.
Yeah.
It's just really, really funny.
It is really funny, but I am so glad you broke that down, and that makes a lot of sense, and it does clear up because I do, it's like one of those things that existence is meant to be pondered. We're walking around in these flesh suits with emotions, and we're just like, one day I feel miserable, the next day I'm elated, and it's like, what does it mean to be alive? So to address that with a supernatural being is not out of the ordinary.
No, and it's what I want, dude. Like I want there to be, I want consciousness to be foundational and of a field, and to be the building block for society. I want for life.
Yes,
not society, but I want to break down society. No, but like I want consciousness to be God. I want there to be an afterlife. I want to believe in these things. So I look for reasons to outside of structures that like don't want gay people to have rights. You know what I mean? I'm fascinated by it, and I'm hopeful for it because it's a lot. That to me is a lot more palatable than dying and having it having it be nothing. Just because I want to, I want to float around with people that I love forever.
Totally. I'm so glad. This is great to hear it broken down and like understandable, and hopefully it'll give the speculators, which I mean, even before the internet, when I was a part of church and Christianity, I remember being as a kid, people reading into both sides, either reading into lyrics being demonic and of the devil and making it up. Or reading lyrics and going like, see this right here? That's clearly a lyric that says he believes in God or Jesus. They just make it up. And there's no valid proof or evidence. But people just love to play Mad Libs with people's lives. They're just like adjective, noun. They just fill it in. Because there's, it's the parasocial relationship that people form. They're like, I know them, and clearly they're speaking from a place of good, devout Christian values.
Exactly.
And you're like, no, not necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily, but there are a lot of good, devout Christian values that I totally subscribe to. I'm just not a Christian because they fucked so much up.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
And like those good, devout Christian values are obviously just like values that many religions share. Would that involve you know.
Yeah, it's like
it's
human
just
decency
It's the
stuff.
only one that I know. You
Yes,
know?
yes.
So
you brought up a good point, which is we
Yeah.
live in America. It is the predominant faith and belief system here. So of course,
and I know about it.
Yeah,
And
you
I
know
was
about it.
involved with it peripherally from first grade to fucking literally like ninth grade.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
totally.
Not a long time, and I never left. I just started sleeping in on Sunday.
Sunday stopped going. Yeah, it's a weird thing, and to those listening out there that are whatever side you stand on of things, there is a look, because my experience was very intense.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Yeah.
And then I depart. I spend years really angry and hostile towards the belief system, and so there's some shit that gets said that I react to.
Yeah.
But once I had children,
Yeah.
when I had a child born or whenever that happens in your life, you kind of go, oh shit, something is at play. It does feel a little bit more than just straight up biology and just like like this happens because of
Dude,
this.
having a kid sounds fucking psychedelic. I've know
It
I said
is
that,
the
but like,
most psychedelic.
yeah. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it in that way. But I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
How could you not?
Plans for kids down the road?
Yeah,
Is there
for
some-
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a partner?
I do. I'm married.
Oh,
yeah.
Wonderful. How long?
1 year.
Hey,
Yeah.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Marriage, marriage is psychedelic. Monogamy is I'm a practicing monogamist. Like that's psychedelic.
Yeah.
It's like it's fair. Like it's so funny. Like not to bring up like traditional like Christian shit, but like
Sure.
sometimes just like submitting to these structures can actually be trippier than being a sort of like hyper individualized polyamorous fucking no shade or anything, but like that to me sounds so much more stressful than just like being married and having this space and time to ponder the universe.
Right.
Take that out. That was such a horrible sentence.
No,
Yeah.
that has to stay in because I think it's such an amazing thing to think about because grass is greener. You got somebody who's been married a long time. They're looking and they're like, oh, I wish I could just be out there.
Yeah.
But what I love you're saying, which is it does take away kind of that constant needling of the brain of relationships
Well,
when you have
sacrifice.
somebody.
When you get married and you have kids, you got to throw out some of your shit. You got to throw out some of your individuality, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it's trippy as hell.
Yeah.
And like that practice makes you better.
Yeah.
Like it totally does because you're thinking about yourself less. Like no one, like that's a famous quote. Like no one's having a good time when they're thinking about themselves.
Right.
You know?
It's very true.
And I just I'm looking forward to getting older and shedding my individual identity more and more as life goes on and as my family grows. I think that's like the true path.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I want to, before we let you go, because I appreciate you sitting down with me, I want to talk a little bit more about the songs now obviously you've had a music career that has been going on for several years and it's only growing and your audience is rabid and, people really love your music. Are you finding inspiration that's pushing you into different sonic directions as a songwriter? Like with these latest songs, there's definitely some different stylish choices that you made. Is there a reason behind that you're listening to something more or feeling it?
Maybe just sort of using immediate limitations to my advantage. Like this isn't like a big budget record. Like I'm doing it myself mostly. I'm doing it in my room, my house, on my computer with very like minimal equipment, and I write songs by writing synth lines, arpeggiated synth lines, and singing to them, to loops, over and over again. I'm like listening to loops over and over again and writing to them, and that's my favorite way to write. I just make a loop that I really like and write poems over them.
That's cool.
And I kind of started out that way, and I've experimented with so many different things over the past couple of albums, and now this is how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a one-to-one type of thing.
That's very cool. I love the new songs. I think they sound great. I'm excited to see you play live and looking forward to what's next for you. And honestly, this has been what I was hoping we'd get into is humor and the God thing.
Yeah.
And that is so wild to me that we get to set the record straight forever.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope that didn't clear anything up for anyone.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Petey, thank you for coming onto Waterproof Records and talking a little bit about your journey and all the things that have led you to where you are today. And I'm super grateful that you took the time, man.
Yeah.
It's been
man.
great. Yeah.
This has been wonderful for me. So thanks.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we should be shouting them out, pointing them to, follow you?
No, I think I got a couple tickets left in the desert, Pappy and Harriet's.
Oh, I love that venue.
Yeah.
Oh, Pappy and Harriet's. Yes.
The rest of them are sold out.
Okay.
It'll be just fun.
Yeah.
Chill, trippy, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do.
The only time I've been to Pappy and Harriet's, I saw Everclear.
No way.
Yes, it was
That's
Everclear
awesome.
and Sponge. It was probably 2023, so
Oh.
it's recent. It was a recent show,
That's sick.
but that is a cool venue, Pappy and
Yeah,
Harriet's.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
come out. I know it's hot, but
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Go camping in Joshua Tree or something.
Yeah, man, experience,
Yeah.
live life, get out there and look at nature and be here.
Yeah.
Right, be here.
Totally.
But yeah, man, if all of you out there, if you have a chance to go see Petey perform live, definitely take that opportunity. And of course, check out his music, support what he's up to and creating. And we're just so thankful you were here today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, man.
Man, that was a cool conversation. It was so fascinating to discover the things out there on the internet that just aren't true about somebody. May that be a lesson to me, you, and everyone, that you just don't necessarily know people unless they're in your life. Here he is coming onto my show, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, because of the few things I've read online, we're going to have this thing. Me growing up in the church, him growing up in the church. No, not at all. And that was such a cool and interesting part of the conversation to learn that truth, that deeper truth about him. Also to discover his influences, that connection to Say Anything, and just really how you can see that vulnerability, that humor, that honesty in that band and how it has translated and manifested and grown into his work as well. So it was really great to have that conversation. I'm so stoked that he came on the podcast today. I'm excited to hear his new music and to definitely go see him live. So thanks to Petey. And of course, I got to give a big shout out to Pantheon Podcast, my home for my podcast. I'm grateful to be a part of that network of all these incredible music podcasts that are out there. And of course, you know which one's the best. We don't even have to say it. You know which podcast is the best podcast on Pantheon Podcast. I mean, let's just assume that I don't have to say it. You can say it. If you want to say it, you say it. And of course, distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof. Make sure you use that link if you're wanting to share your music with the world and save yourself 30%. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you stick around. There's 106 episodes before this to go of guests and albums that I dig into, and there's going to be many more to come. I can't keep making the show without your support. So make sure you tell your friends that you've just discovered Waterproof Records with Jacob Givens and you're hooked. And now you're going to keep coming back and keep bringing guests on this show that you enjoy and discovering music or hearing from some of your favorite artists. But I really have you to thank because that's what this show is about. You, my audience. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me. This has been Waterproof Records with Jacob Givens. I'll talk to you next time.
Things are gonna change. I can feel it.
If this gonna be that kind of party, I'm gonna